as evil. Humanity is no stranger to pandemics and outbreaks. The Black Death, also known as the Great Plague, for instance, wiped out scores of people. Peaking in Europe in the mid 14th century, it circled the globe and recurred as outbreaks in various corners of the world for hundreds of years. Then there was the flu, Spanish, Asian, swine, you name it. And finally, the coronavirus. While most people are complaining about quarantine, history has it that some great people took quarantine as an opportunity to make history. Here are some examples of the great people who made themselves a name during hard times. Isaac Newton. During 1665, the plague was prowling through Europe, closing many public buildings and meetings. The University of Cambridge, where Newton studied, closed its doors, forcing him to pursue his contemplation of the stellar problems at his family's farm. It was during this period that he first conceived the method of fluxions and started his work with light and colors. He also came up with the theory of gravity after getting inspired from the falling apple that helped him understand the gravitational force. Thomas Nash. He remained in London apart from periodic visits to the countryside to avoid the plague, a fear reflected in his masterpiece, the play Summer's Last Will and Testament, written in the autumn of 1592, which was the fruit of his outbreak of bubonic plague. Edward Munch. In 1918, the Spanish flu hit Europe, leaving behind an estimated 500 million victims, enhanced by the cramped conditions of soldiers and poor wartime nutrition that many people were experiencing during World War I. Edvard Munch, most known for the Scream canvas, survived the Spanish flu pandemic. While still recovering from the flu, he painted self-portraits that depict the artist's representation of the horrific suffering as a result of the outbreak. Munch, who was already affected by the loss of his family's members at an early age due to tuberculosis, turned his great pain into memorable paintings. William Shakespeare. In 1606, deaths from the plague led to the closure of theatres. The disease reached the playwright's house in London and was to change Shakespeare's professional life and the whole drama forever. That summer, Shakespeare and his contemporaries were distracted from recent events concerning the monarchy when the Black Death made an unwelcome return. During this period, the young Shakespeare did write significant works like The King Lear, while isolated in quarantine from the plague. It's worth reflecting on how an outbreak of plague that may have come close to King Shakespeare also led to the kind of powerful drama that fully exploited atmosphere. Giovanni Boccaccio. Coming out of the east, the Black Death reached the shores of Italy in the spring of 1348, unleashing a rampage of death across Europe, unprecedented in recorded history. Europe's population had fallen victim to the pestilence. The Italian writer Giovanni Boccaccio lived through the plague as it ravaged the city of Florence in 1348. The experience inspired him to write the Decameron, a story of 7 men and 3 women who escaped the disease by fleeing to a villa outside the city. In his introduction to the fictional portion of his book, Boccaccio gives a graphic description of the effects of the epidemic on his city. How about you? Are you gonna make the best use of your quarantine? I am Masiva, and this is my first video on this channel that I consider as the fruit of quarantine. We'll discuss in this channel different topics about philosophy, psychology, art, history, biography, and science. Making this video took me a lot of time, but it takes you only a few seconds to encourage me. See you in the next video.